fence?
Yeah, on the pooping on the fence.
Oh, bro. All right. We're talking.
What do you
we're at
got,
poop
bro?
jokes now. All right. So thank you very much for that. We're gonna close out with. Dude, I got to check out Full Metal Alchemist.
Yes.
The Netflix's Full Metal Alchemist. The live action interpretation of the very popular anime that's gone into 2 series now.
2 series, yes. Two fully finished series. Original FMA and Brotherhood. Brotherhood being the one that is closer to the manga.
And I never read the original manga, but I checked out both series. I checked out the first series, and I checked out a few episodes of Brotherhood and realized...
so then you don't know Full Metal Alchemist.
Okay, excuse me.
You don't know.
I'm gonna be that guy.
You actually don't need to watch it, though.
No.
If you watch this movie, it will tell you exactly what Full Metal Alchemist is all about.
Yeah.
And the
on
lore.
that note, Johnny, tell us what Full Metal Alchemist, the Netflix live-action release, is all about.
So there's these 2 brothers, and they lose their mother, and they're in this world where alchemy is a thing, and they try to resurrect their mother. They fail epically. The younger brother dies. The other brother loses a leg. The younger brother then performs another alchemy thing, the older brother, in order to get at least his younger brother back, the soul of his younger brother back, and he makes sort of like a deal with God or himself.
No.
It's like a weird invisible cloud, not invisible cloud thing.
Space part.
But essentially there's this law of equivalent exchange. So whatever it is that you're trying to transmute via the alchemy, you have to give something of equal value or equal worth
or equal substance also.
Equal substance as well, yeah. There's multiple rules to that.
What did you take out of this?
I'm going to pause you right there. Well, Mix is sighing very heavily into the mic over here.
I don't think she can sigh any heavier.
I have a lot of feelings about Full Metal Alchemist.
All right, so lay it on us, Mix. What's this about?
Like Johnny was saying, there's
space fart.
2 brothers. They study alchemy. Mother dies. Father's out of the picture and fully out of the picture for this film, which is very interesting, but we'll get to that later. And they try to bring their mother back, but you can't. A major plot in this is that you can't transmute a human life. Or can you? But you can't. So their mother comes back, and she's basically just a pile of meat, and it's terrifying. And so in the process, though, Al, younger brother, loses his full body for this equivalent exchange. Al basically is incorporeal at this point, and Ed, the older brother, can pull his soul out of what is past the door of knowledge, but which is also very weirdly done in this film. Yeah. So he gets back Al's soul, binds it to a suit of armor. So now Al is a young kid growing up as a giant suit of armor. He is hollow. He has no physical body. And Ed ends up losing an arm and a leg. He gets to use automail, which is what we would consider prosthesis, which is made for him by their childhood friend Winry. And in order to try and get Al's body back, Ed becomes a state alchemist, which is a branch of the military, because in this world, alchemy is something that is used. You can use it to transmute ingredients to cook, or you could, level a city by transmuting all of the, water to glass or something crazy.
All right, I'm going to pause you right there real quick. Adam, I'm going to assume you're not a hardcore anime fan. You're not a person who's very familiar with the...
you lost me at pile of meat.
Exactly.
Pile of meat.
That's one of the biggest problems with this with this adaptation. It relies heavily on people being familiar with the anime or with the manga.
Yes.
Because anyone else who's just looking through Netflix to see a cool film,
hey, it's a meat pile and it's his mom. That sucks.
Exactly.
Well, here's the thing: they don't even show that at the beginning. Like they show a lot of this film in flashback that happens throughout the film.
Just like in the anime.
Just like in the anime. But the difference is when you're watching an anime series, you're invested in the longer story. So you're okay with getting to episode... When does Shotaka show up? Episode 8 or episode 6 or 8, I don't remember which one. And finding out some backstory stuff. Whereas in the movie, it was very disjointed. I mean, I'll give my real quick hot take on this. I'm a huge Full Metal Alchemist fan. I have seen all of the series, read all of the manga. I even saw that horrible Conqueror of Shambhala movie, which is a weird alternate universe. I don't need to get into it now.
Just stick to main.
But I liked this movie, and I feel that it's not a bad adaptation, but it was very difficult for my friend who was significantly less knowledgeable about Full Metal Alchemist to follow what was going on without pausing several times and being like, wait, who's that guy? Wait, I don't understand. Why is this guy doing this? When did we meet? When did that guy say he did XYZ? And I feel that it's a really fun movie if you are familiar with Full Metal Alchemist, even if it's just the original series, which is a little wonky. All that happened was it got way ahead of the manga, so it started making up stuff on its own. But I would give I'll give my quick mix macabre thumbs up with a caveat that it generally just doesn't make a lot of sense if you don't have a background from Full Metal Alchemist. That being said, some of it visually looked great, and then some of it, like, why is the main character in a bad cosplay wig? I've made a better Edward Elric wig than that wig in the movie. But then you'd see, like, some of the villains in the movie looked phenomenal. And it just was very wild to me that it's like, did you just spend your whole budget on this one thing? Because she looks great, but y'all look terrible.
They spent it on the armor.
You make a very good point.
Ed looks great.
So good.
Ed looks sick. The armor looks sick. And the use of alchemy looks like on par with anything I've seen on Netflix.
Now, on the opposite side of that coin there, I will say this movie can eat a dick.
That's my point. Real quick, though, that's my point, though. That I have a huge background in FMA, and I feel I got a lot out of it because I know stuff. But if you don't, here's Pat's review.
Well, thank you. I've actually seen all of Full Metal Alchemist.
You just said you hadn't seen the ones that were closer to the manga.
I didn't see Brotherhood. That doesn't mean I didn't watch the first series, which they based a lot of this on, including several scenes which they tried to recreate directly, and they made a few changes.
Where it failed.
I think it failed all over the place. The only thing that really sold this was the performance by the woman who played Lust. I brought up the.
That's the one. Okay, I was trying to I didn't know how spoiler to get. Lust was perfect in every way, and I feel like they blew the whole budget on being like, yo, the homunculus look great. Screw everyone else.
The homunculus looked perfect. They looked really good, and the woman who played Lust, she, in her performance was just she commanded every frame she was in.
I wouldn't give her that much because there were reactions that were out of place.
I thought her performance was specifically on point, and I loved the crap out of it. Alternately, the dude who played Envy is one of the most hateful, just heinous,
he was so bland
in Full Metal Alchemist, and you want to hate that dude so much. He did nothing in this picture. It's a live action interpretation. The dude that did him. Envy is a goofy looking SOB, and they did their best, I guess, to get that look down, and the guy gave nothing. You know, it's just like you don't know why you're supposed to hate him for the majority of this film, and then they replace a few of the assassinations that Lust performed in the anime with Envy, I guess, to try to give him more to do in this because, and keep in mind. Again, anyone who's not familiar with this, you're going to be confused when you see it. Adam, you're going to miss a lot of stuff.
I am.
It's okay. Because they're compressing an anime, which is what, like 50 episodes?
60 episodes, yeah.
60 episodes down into a...
100 some odd chapters of manga, yeah.
In a movie that's just over 2 hours. Like 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And can't be done.
But they took out, I mean, and this is not a spoiler to say, like, they took out a major part of Full Metal Alchemist, which is their father, untouched in any way in this film. And it was so weird to me how they kind of built up this major confrontation, and it almost throughout the whole film I kept just saying, like, what is the plot of this film? Like, I get the point, like, all right, Ed wants Al's body back, I get it, but like, what is the plot? They
never really go into why the stone is important.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what is the point of this film? It just to me looked like a really good cosplay video. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, all these cosplayers sure look great, reenacting some of their favorite scenes.
Most of these cosplayers look great. What the hell is with this dude's wig?
It didn't even have a seam. Like, just for anyone who wears wigs for cosplay, what I mean by a seam is this was not a lace front wig, and it didn't have any skin seam in the middle part. It just was such a wig. It was such a wig.
If anyone's familiar with this show, it's like if Adam tried to cosplay as me. Okay,
which I have.
Well, I mean,
fair.
Yes.
I'm just bummed.
We'll talk about that.
I want to give this movie I like this movie. I'm just bummed because I wanted it to be so much more, and it feels so weird. Like, Mustang was great. I loved him, but he did nothing.
We'll get to him, but hold on. We've said our piece. Johnny, what's your interpretation?
Yeah, so I watched maybe like 5 episodes total of Full Metal Alchemist. My younger brother got big into it and watched the whole thing. But so I'm like vaguely familiar with some of the things that are going on in here. But watching this movie, I didn't feel like it was confusing at all. What I did feel like was that they were over-explaining things. It felt like the movie was made for a younger audience and sort of explaining the world and the lore to them. And it felt very hand-fisted. And it was very slow paced. So there's that. The visual effects were impressive for the certain characters, like
for
the
the
armor
first
itself.
half of the picture.
Right.
That's true.
I don't know where the budget ran out, but by like
You could see
minute 30,
You could see it.
they went from like an MCU budget to a trauma budget.
Yeah, it was very clear that the budget was very limited, and you could tell it got so bad that the sound effects were just atrocious pretty much throughout all of it, but especially when Ed was punching with Dr. or Professor Tucker or whatever. Tucker, and like punching him,
who did give a good
punching a
performance
wall.
in
It was
that.
like
He was
the
great,
weakest
but,
sounding punches.
Well, it felt like they were putting anime sound effects in a live action movie, which is what it felt like to me. And that's a falling of a lot of live action versions of animated stuff. They try to almost keep it too much like the anime.
Way too much.
He would have looked so much better if they just had him having a more natural hair in a braid. Like Winry, for example, that's the girl that works on his automail, that's his friend. They didn't make her platinum blonde. They didn't make her, a white character, and they didn't make her look too unrealistic. But then that didn't carry over to other characters. And it was just like Envy didn't have neon green hair, which is, a failing, I would say. But
color of Envy is green,
actually,
so.
I find that they did on some points try to make it less like the anime and more realistic, which I think failed on certain points.
Yes.
Yep.
Like you mentioned Colonel Mustang earlier, who's a very popular character, very well known, and everyone knows that when he snaps his fingers, something explodes. Fire, lots of stuff.
That's because his alchemy is pyrotechnics. Is his alchemy.
Yes, and in this picture they tried to make it a lot more realistic, as if, well, he's got a weapon that shoots fire, right? So he goes like this, and then there's a stream of flame, which I didn't find that jarring. But one of the biggest complaints I've been hearing about is, why did it take so long when he's such a badass character who's like, he's all about quick action and these are his attacks? And it didn't bother me so much, but I'm very aware that this is a complaint a lot of people have when they do things like that. And then you talk about Winry, who is the one who works on Ed's automail. What the hell is automail? They never explain it. And
they never explain automail.
On so many people being familiar with the anime, anyone new is going to be completely lost because, Adam, I said the word automail. Does that make any sense to you at all?
No, none of this does.
And it's actually a pretty cool thing that if they had just given 2 sentences of explanation would have made
showed
much more
her
sense.
Fixing it, showed her attaching it to him.
At no point did Winry do anything but complain and slap people.
She cried a bunch.
And cried a bunch. I'm not knocking the actress because
she was
her
good.
emotional
She was
scenes when she was supposed to be like down was actually kind of deep.
Well, for the acting, all of them pretty much were playing it as if they were playing the roles of the characters from the anime, like the antics, the emotions, and how they emoted themselves and how they sort of quarreled amongst themselves. It played out exactly like an anime, but the problem was the camera was not dynamic whatsoever.
Yeah, felt very bland.
It looked stilted and looked almost awkward most of the time, where there was this exchange while they were eating and they did this like very anime tropey type of exchange between them where they look at each other's eyes and they sort of tilt their head and stuff like that. The camera should have cut and sort of been way more dynamic to show this like little
heated argument.
It didn't even do it. It was
it's
one
where in an
cut,
anime they'd be like shooting electricity at each other. And I completely agree that I think what the bummer of this movie was that it was neither an anime movie nor a live action movie. That it was like, it's what I'd say, like when I bring up cosplayers, it felt like a bunch of cosplayers reenacting their favorite moments of Full Metal Alchemist. It didn't feel like a coherent, realistic film. And I'm not saying an anime film has to be realistic because, there's homunculi and magic and all this stuff. But I feel that it felt very bland, and it also felt very like it was very meandering. It didn't feel like, all right, here's the big climactic fight, and it just felt very, I wasn't sure where it was going in a very dull way.
Yeah,
if this was a fan movie, it would have been spectacular. But the fact that it was a studio production
from Netflix itself,
they dropped the ball. From Netflix,
wow,
a ball was dropped because you get characters. I'm not knocking some certain characters. Captain Hughes, one of my absolute favorites. They nailed him. The guy
was so perfect. It was
perfect.
Wonderful, terrible.
But his entire background was redesigned for we just lost Black Adam Willis, y'all, so we'll shout him out on the comments afterward. But we lost a lot of the we lost Captain Hughes' family.
Yeah, which is such a major part also because his daughter is such a foil for Nina.
Mm-hmm.
And to have had Nina in this film, and I'm not going to give any spoilers, but Nina is Dr. Tucker's daughter,
mm-hmm.
and Hughes' daughter is such a foil for that character, and it was just they made some changes that were both intriguing and almost boring, almost made me care less about the character.
I understand why they
You can only do so much. It's a movie.
Well, yeah, it's a different problem that we touched on before. This is an entire series. It's rich that they compress, just hard trash compacted into just over 2 hours, and that really hurt the story itself. Because as an anime, I like Full Metal Alchemist. I don't like the second series, and I'm guessing I wouldn't like the manga because of that. Yes, right. If anyone's not watching, Mix is giving me those death eyes there.
I have a lot of
lightning bolts are
I have a lot of
streaking
feelings
right
about
now.
little boys.
And see the way it's shot because it's live action now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it definitely hurt this production, and a lot of it is reliant on your knowledge of the anime or the manga. But because of that, you see how much more it failed.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, I'll definitely praise Captain Hughes. Love the guy in the anime. Love him in this movie. Tucker, even though I hate that character
love to hate him. He was perfect.
Yeah, he was pretty good in this.
Gluttony was amazing.
I'll definitely praise the effects for the first half of the movie. That there's an intro chase scene which just looked awesome.
It literally is like they ran out of money. It's unbelievable. You can see there's a scene change, and from that point on, it does not look as good as it previously did.
Which is unfortunate because for the entirety of this, I love the look of Al in the suit of armor.
Looked great.
Yeah,
it looked really good. It didn't feel like it carried, like the heaviness of armor. So when they interacted with that, but that's like a film snob.
It was also very agile for a full set of armor.
Well, I mean, come on, he's what, 10?
No, not at this point.
Okay.
Nope.
That joke tanked, ladies and gentlemen. But I will say there was effort made on the parts of actors here, but overall the concept was flawed from the beginning, and it just didn't work for me. I got to give this a thumbs down.
Yeah, hard thumbs down.
I'm going to give it a thumbs up but with the caveat of, if you love Full Metal Alchemist, you will enjoy seeing this film, if even just to make fun of it. You will not feel like it's a waste of time. But if you do not know Full Metal Alchemist, thumbs down, give it a pass. You'll barely be able to keep up with what was happening because it was just ridiculously not very thorough.
I didn't think it was that bad to follow as a non-Full Alchemist fan, but as a movie itself, it was a failure on all the technical aspects.
That makes sense. You know what sucks though? I wanted to like this so hard.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I went into this so hype. Also,
it's an anime, a live action interpretation of an anime, but they actually cast Japanese actors.
Which
they
is
cast Asian
funny to
Asian
me
role.
In the sense of it's one of the few animes that very explicitly takes place in Europe.
Yeah, that's another.
Now, I'm not saying don't cast Asian actors. I'm just saying it's funny that for all of those movies, Ghost in the Shell, that take place very explicitly
in Japan.
Mm-hmm. That this one, takes place in I think Armistice is the name of the world, and it's Europe.
Ishvala. Yeah.
No, Ishvala is no.
It's very clearly Europe. They even had they
because they have
mentioned the word Führer. I'm like, what?
Well, Führer, because that's another thing. They never touch on the fact that the Führer King Bradley is the main head of the military. They never get into that whatsoever.
Well,
they just throw the word Führer.
Yeah.
They just throw the word Führer.
Where was my boy Armstrong? I would have loved to have seen Scar.
There's no Greed.
Is that the Sparkle guy?
No.
No, Scar is
well,
in the
we'll
anime. He's
talk
the guy
off air because we gotta.
Well, okay. These are other characters that are very poignant, very well known from the series, and were omitted from this. And I understand you had to make a lot of sacrifices because, again, you're cramming an entire series into a short 2-hour movie. But don't reach for the sky. You know, tell one simple story, or at the very least, I would have loved to have seen you not try to rehash the story from the anime and tell a separate story. Brotherhood was a different story from the anime already presented, and it has a huge following. Well, maybe this is a side story. You know, this is an adventure with the Elric brothers, and, you know, they do whatever it is they do and not focus on the damn Philosopher's Stone, which I think really hurt this movie, focusing on
wild.
something that
It
they
was
gave so
wild.
little detail on. I already gave it a thumbs down. I don't know
Yeah.
what to say, except Armstrong is not in it, and that is a damn shame. Because somewhere out there, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson
Oh,
could have like
man.
had that little curl going on. That would have been an amazing Armstrong.
So good.
I'm just saying. I'm just putting that out there. Just putting that out there.
In conclusion,
In conclusion, Full Metal Alchemist. It's available on Netflix right now if anyone wants to check it out. And if you're a hardcore Full Metal Alchemist fan,
it's worth checking out.
Yeah,
it's
you gotta
worth
see
a
it.
larf.
I would say mostly for closure.
Yeah, again, I'm not saying it's good. I'm saying if you love Full Metal Alchemist and you want to laugh at this ridiculous movie, you'll have a kick out of it. But it's not going to be a good film.
All right, so Johnny, you're getting that new tattoo of like FMA right here.
You
You say that like I don't already have
get
one.
the serpent
Yeah,
with the
homunculus.
thing.
The
There we go.
homunculus.
Yeah.
Oh, you get that? See, I would.
The
I would
Ouroboros.
I'd actually get the alchemy symbol.
Oh, you want the alchemy symbol?
Alchemy symbol is
Yeah,
still kind of
okay,
I
bad.
got the
pretty cool.
homunculus
I dig
Ouroboros.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I would have liked to have seen more homunculi though, and
We only see 3. It's wild. It's wild.
we only see
It's
3.
wild.
The dude that does gluttony.
Did y'all stay watch? Did you watch it after the credits?
Yeah, that dumbness. That's
No.
Okay, real quick. Something happens after the credits that makes less than no sense if you've never seen the anime.
yeah.
Oh, all right.
Actually, I don't even remember if that happens in the original anime.
I feel like I've seen the scene, but I'm not sure if it was on the anime or if it was like a YouTube thing.
Okay.
But it's stupid. It is so stupid. I'm sorry. It's
No,
just,
I'm saying I stayed to watch after the credits, hoping
No,
something magical would happen, and it was like the dumbest Easter egg.
I just let the credits go. I couldn't bother myself to like stop the playback because it was just like, what the hell? Oh, something's happening, and then it was dumb. Okay, so this has been the Geek Down here on
Da-da-da.
WEMF Radio, and thank you all for joining us. You can catch us all every Monday nights right here on WEMFradio.com. But also, we mentioned it several